What's good, people? Let me see who's all in the building. Appreciate the likes already. Hey, everybody. We are live as can be. Let me see something. Maybe I should change it this way. What up, Ken Zen? Auntie Leah in the building. Trisha Blair. The usual suspects, but none of y'all are suspects. In this world, we got, if you let a criminologist break it down, there are victims, witnesses, and suspects, right? What's up, Yvonne? Victims, witnesses, and suspects. What's up, Martha? Patricia Blair again. Yeah. Um, hey, Lindsay Lou. Y'all know what the criminologists think of as victims, witnesses, or suspects. And then who are they? I guess they're the observers. Um, Micaiah Sanders, what's good? Yep. Or you could just be an observer. You be a witness, be an observer. You say, my name is Wes and I ain't in this mess, right? Like this, for example. Where we at? How come my thing isn't coming up? Oh, they didn't change it? What happened? Um, because I can't even display what I wanted to display then. Oh, there it is. Okay. Victims, witnesses, and suspects. This right here is a travesty, y'all. Man goes viral after thanking lawyer for turning 30 days in jail into a 9 years probation bid. Like, how stupid are you? And shout out to World Star. Yes, y'all. What did you do? Number one, for 30 days in jail, and then you had this idiot convince you to take 9 years of probation. This got you gotta be special. You something's wrong. You can't fight off the booty bandits for 30 days. Man, I will be in there fighting off the booty bandits for them 30 days. And I probably only do 3 weeks. You get what I'm saying? I would have did the 30 days in jail, no problem. I mean, what is up with these youngsters? And he's taking this whole thing because the guy who's featured in this photo, he's a rapper. I guess he's out of Florida. I think he's out of Florida, and he's taking it as a run to promote. And he's like, my lawyer is over here meeting up, networking. Yeah, yeah. What's up, Luna? T.J. Jackson, what's up? Yeah, yeah. Give me that 30 days. 9 years probation. Yeah, they're basically banking on you doing something stupid so that you can get caught up. Like, man, 30 days. Yeah, give me the 30 days. No problem. I think I had something back day where it was an issue with some some freaking traffic tickets. That's how I got uh, in pretty much in the system. I didn't have any no real issues or no real cases or nothing like that, right? But when I was 18, the irony, the same year that I turned 18, they required license or insurance for your vehicles, which I had because I had a vehicle. But beginning of the year, there was an issue with my car. I didn't have a car. I had a moped. I was riding that to and from work, school, yada yada yada. Old lady hit me, and uh, I ended up catching I guess, driving without motorcycle license and insurance or whatever for that. But that happened at 18. I didn't really get that all cleared up until I would say like 23. because it was just more and more stuff. Like I was not aware that they took my license, and then I'm driving on another, driving no lights. So and it's just once you get down that rabbit hole of dealing with the authorities and the law like that, they try to just get you. They'll try their best to get you. So this young man probably didn't have no 30 days in jail. Like what misdemeanor infraction? You really got nothing. And you said, "Oh, I'll take 9 years of probation." Oh yeah, they gonna get you caught up in something else. And I'm sure summary probation. 9 years though, and summary probation means like you don't have to necessarily like report to anyone. But yeah, these YNs are dumb as they're dumb as a rock. I hate to say, a lot of these kids can't read either. They can't read the room. They can't read a paper. They can't read. They can't read body language. But yeah, like yeah, you shouting out this lawyer. I hope how much you pay this guy. I hope he was a public pretender. He had to been like a public defender or something. Cause bro, you took 90, you took 9 years over 30 days. How a sad measure of endeavor indeed. Yeah, y'all. I had to pull that. I just was like, that was just so absurd, absurd. Like I don't get it. I do not get it. But nonetheless, we're in the building. I'm in the building. Why is this light low? It's supposed to. Let me do something real quick. What is going on here? I don't understand why this thing is so low. All right. Regardless of what, maybe my eyesight is tripping, or maybe it's just this thing going on here. You say is it clickbait? Nah, it's this is real because the Yom J, the guy who participated or who was featured in that World Star Instagram clip, he actually tagged himself. He said, "Tag me because this is me." And then you go to his channel, and he's promoting his rap career. Let me let me really just kind of break it down because like rap is done. I mean, I'll say it like this: there's five elements of hip hop, really nine, right? Nine elements of hip hop. When they decided to make the rapper the go to, the premier for the industry, rap done. I mean, we'll start off. Shout out to Rakim. Rakim's the greatest, one of the greatest. I heard Merce. Shout out to Merce. Y'all don't know who Merce is. Merce is a dope rapper from LA. Uh, he said something about DJ Quick, and he was just saying how Quick was like our West Coast Rakim. And I was like, I didn't think about that. Yeah, no, I think Quick. No offense to Rakim, because Rakim is that's my number one, right? Karis one is two, but Quick is greater than Rakim, if you ask me, because Quick can produce, Quick can write, he can play. Like Quick is a genius. Quick DJ Quick is a genius. Shout out to DJ Quick. And yeah, when they made the DJ, I mean, sorry, when they made the MC the premiere, this rap stuff was done. Everybody want to be a rapper now. I guess that was like the easiest thing to kind of jump to when you get into you want to get into the industry side of the game. You would just become a rapper. Whereas a DJ, and shout out to dope DJs like Quick, uh, Battle Cat, DJ Kit Kat. You just call me, I'll hit you back, Kit Kat. You really had to put in time to really become a dope producer. So the DJ gets the party started. The producer, the music is what gets the party moving. And then you can't do anything without a rapper can't spit without the beat. So production was one thing. Like production was just everybody couldn't produce. And no offense, but shout out to Q-Tip. I think Q-Tip was trying to produce some stuff. I remember back day. Let me go on a little tangent real quick, but I do remember back day. Q-Tip's a decent producer, but he's not dope like that. Like he ain't got nothing no Dilla. No offense, right? D, DJing, producing, it's a whole different game. You get what I'm saying? But anyway, now everybody want to be a rapper. This young cat who just got this case 90 days, or I'm sorry, he could have took 30 days, but he did 90 days. I'm sorry, 9 years probation. Uh, ain't much for me to say. It's ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. All right. So I say all that to bring on the fact that we're talking about a case. We're talking about a situation. Who's in the digital crosshairs today? The digital crosshairs. We're speaking on a person named Lara Gatz from the Reed Smith law firm. Now, for those who don't know, Reed Smith law firm, that's the law firm that's going around reaching out, not even reaching out, just striking content creators on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. If you post anything about Demore Hadley, Roc Nation, Desiree Perez in a negative light, you are probably gonna get hollered at. You get what I'm saying? And it's by this Reed Smith um, person, the lead person, Lara Gatz. She's in the digital crosshairs. Um, she case out there on the Hadleys, specifically Demore, and she she's claiming that she's being harassed, she's being cyber stalked because of what Demore put out there online. And I'm gonna break it down. We're gonna go there. We can just break it down, break the whole case down. I got the case. Um, I have something just in general where she's over here just playing victim. I'll just say it like that, playing hella victim. Lara Gatz, Lara T. Gatz, who is this person? She is the ex-assistant of a U.S. attorney. She's not a U.S. attorney. She's the assistant of a U.S. attorney, ex-assistant of a U.S. attorney who she resides in Florida, Miami-Dade, and she's now like a private litigator, and she works with Roc Nation. She works with Desiree Perez. That's really who she works with, Desiree Perez. Jag, if you want to come up and join, feel free to do so because I know you got more information on who this person is. But let me just intro what's going on with Lara Gatz and what's popping with her. Now she essentially is filed. She's already filed a petition against Demore Hadley. The petition that she filed with uh, Demore Hadley, it's involved cyber stalking. There's a Florida cyber stalking law for repeat harassment. The allegations that she's throwing are the doxing. She has a photo and contact information where I believe Demore shared, but this Lara T. Gatz person is saying that because she shared the photo and her contact information, she's inciting violence, and she incited violence with hashtags saying justice for Demore. That she said that's inciting violence, and I guess Lord Gatz has also documented followers of Demore, but I don't think these are followers of Demore and threats. So she filed an emergency ex parte hearing to receive an injunction. She basically filed an ex parte hearing to receive an immediate injunction without waiting for a full hearing. She essentially wants a she wants a case thrown at Demore Hadley. So her evidence is just a whole bunch of uh, Twitter and Instagram posts. Let me bring Jag up because Jag is going to help me out with this case because we have a lot of this stuff documented. What's up? Where you at? Okay, there you go. Yes, yes. How are you
Mic check
doing,
1 2 1 2.
gorgeous?
Oh, thank
Um,
you. I'm just here, get myself together. I'm sorry it took me a minute. I had to
no,
handle
handle
something.
your no, handle your candle. I was just setting it all up. I was letting everyone know the topic at hand, the digital crosshairs.
Yes, yes, yes.
hmm hmm The digital crosshairs of Laura T. Gatz. Laura T. Gatz got rid of the Jaguar Wright show and got rid of Set in the West.
Sure
Uh,
did. He did
got
that.
rid of it. Got rid of it on behalf of Roc Nation. She's one of the attorneys for Reed Smith law firm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And mind you, Jag, we already said we ain't gonna get on here and talk too much
Are
mess.
we
We
gonna
you
call
know
it?
we're
What are
gonna
we
talk
calling them? We're calling them Quinn Emanuel's B team
maybe the
because they're
C
not
team,
the eight. They're not the A team. That's for sure. We know that.
not the A team, not at all. Yeah, more like the C team, right? So yeah, Quinn Emanuel C team, B team, and they're working on behalf of Desiree Perez.
Mm-hmm.
They are her attorneys. I had first received a strike from her because of a LinkedIn photo that I had used. That was my fault for a preview that I had set up for the Demoria Hadley story,
Mm-hmm.
Defending Your Freedom. Featured hosted by you, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
presentation, Jaguar Wright show. So they got me that, and I said, I'll take that, no problem. That was my mistake because I replaced the photo with an actual photo that was owned by someone outside of Roc Nation. And
Mm-hmm.
I retained the rights to that, use that, cool. Usually when you
Mm-hmm.
receive a strike, I don't know why they just, well, I guess as of late, YouTube has been real um, aggressive with strikes. They're not playing. So, and I get it, that's cool. But I think they just, they pick and choose who and when they want to be aggressive. Because I have so many cases, but they don't take it serious. But that's a whole nother conversation. We'll be
Well,
talking
no,
about
it
that.
really isn't a whole nother conversation. Honestly, that is the conversation. Because why is it that YouTube is so quick to respond when it comes to certain individuals, but totally derelict with, others? It's if you're going to call yourself a platform where you're hosting bloggers, you're hosting, you know, news analysts, journalists, and stuff like that. It seems like the rules should apply to everyone across the board, and yet
Right.
it really doesn't. And then certain things are attacked. Like, for instance, it's one thing if you're going to put a strike up because someone is refusing to take something down, but there was no cease and desist. There was none of that. And it was handled very quickly and very haphazardly. And even though that photo was taken down, the strike still remained.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said that's a whole different conversation because I'm gonna go deeper into that because I'm just gonna scratch the surface, and there's a whole lot that we're gonna talk about. The reason why the part 4 hasn't been so ready to be pushed out because of this person, because of this Laura Gatz individual. This person is, to me, bullying other content creators. If you had said anything in negative or just not even negative, just said the truth about the Demoria Hadley case, the Demoria Hadley lawsuit, then they were coming after you. But on the
Mm,
flip side, she has a petition to grant an injunction so that Demoria Hadley can't speak. And her evidence, it's social media evidence. I guess I was letting the audience know that she had hundreds of posts on X and Instagram that
hmm
she built basically a digital dossier and examples that she used, the language that was used with some of those posts. uh, that she felt threatened. She said, "Guys, go threaten her." Um, we have that
Let's
post.
see.
There
What
you
do we
go.
have?
There you go. Is that? Yep, that's one of them.
That's one of them.
Um, that's one of them. I tried to format it so that it'll fit, but you know how that goes.
Yeah, I don't think it's
See, yeah, see, you see why I was like, let me get you up to do this because I'm sitting there trying to run the the green screen behind me, and it's still gang banging. It ain't even acting right. Okay, there we go. Now it wants to act right. Whoa, whoa, oh, some of it. Look at that. It's ridiculous. Okay, yeah, I tried to format it so that it will fit, but let's see what we got. Um, yeah, these are some of this is some of the evidence that was used against Demoria Halley, used by Lara Gatz, speaking on her being threatened online.
I
And the threat
mean,
looks like the threat goes, you know, the examples of the language used, like I said, it was guys go threaten her. Um, and she said, you know, the real world fallout was harassing emails to her firm.
mhm.
I mean, do you think
Like I
that's
think this is
threatening
supposed to
language?
be I think this is supposed to be the most one of the most inflammatory that she used. Um, but in this one, it's not even going after her. They're talking about Desiree. Apparently, one of the Barbs, I guess, had an account that had been hacked. They were saying, I guess, by Roc Nation, and they were showing this evidence. Demore, she retweeted it, showing people, look, these are the kind of attacks that people go through. And then someone else retweets it and they start saying that, you know, they go after, Desiree Perez, they call her out of her name and saying, you will be stopped or whatever the case may be. That's not a
Mhm.
threat towards Laura Gatz, though, and it it's vaguely a threat to Desiree. I mean, we get threats. We get threats. The stuff that people say about us, we get threatened, and we get
Phone
threatened viciously.
calls.
We get threatening
Hmm.
phone calls. We get threatening emails. We get threatening comments. We have people talking about we're going to be this, we're going to be that, we're going to be unalived. There's been all kinds of things. Um, so just the way they're shaping all of this, this post in itself,
Yeah.
this is a picture of Demore and her grandfather, and you know, um, part four. We get more into that conversation. She's spoken about it with other platforms about how, ever since the media blitz started picking up, you know, Desiree cut off all contact between Demore's grandfather and Demore. Demore has spoken, not a lot because she's pretty much been frozen out of her family life altogether. But, she called and the people that are working there in the house made it very clear that the order is that she is not allowed to speak to her grandfather. And if, they do, if they facilitate in any way, they're going to be fired.
Hmm.
Um, they stated that he does ask for her. And this is an older gentleman that's going through whether it's Alzheimer's or dementia, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's one of those, in that world. And my dad had dementia. He had progressive dementia at the end. And watching him lose, his mind and his abilities and his cognitive sense, that was not the easiest thing in the world for me to experience. He was one of the most brilliant and one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. So I remember when he first started, going off into his descent and talking with him and just he hated the fact that of all the things that he was losing, that he was losing his mind. Um,
Mm.
and in my conversations with Demore, when we were first, going over prep and everything for the interview, um, Demore's grandfather and my dad sounded a lot alike, but these are men that were born at a certain
Around
era in
the
the
same
world.
time. Yeah,
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 my
around
dad
time.
was
Yeah.
my dad was born 33. Her abuelo was born in 36. And I remember one of the most important things that any doctor will tell you is whatever keeps their memory engaged is what you want to keep around them. Um,
Yeah,
being around
and
familiar people.
she's the only one that he really remembered.
I was the only one that my dad remembered at the end. I was
Hmm.
the last person that my dad ever called for by name before he was able to stop speaking. And, I remember I would go and visit my dad, and I would, pull out the family, photo album, and I would say, "Come on, Dad, let's take a trip down. We're going to take a walk down memory lane. You might not be able to get up and walk, but we're going to walk around the neighborhood. Come on, close your eyes. Let's go through the mind. Okay, what street is at this corner, and what street is at this corner, and where do we turn to go to Wawa, and where do we do like we I did that with him. And I'd be like, "This is
Hmm.
mom. Do you remember this picture? How old were you in this picture?" I would do stuff like that with him. And it's so interesting because in talking with Demore, she was sharing with me how her and Javon used to do the same thing with her granddad.
Hmm.
And keeping him, abreast, and keeping him alive, and keeping that awake. And you need that, that youthful spirit, and that those memory jogs, they really help people stay closer to themselves. So when you start removing those people, those constants, you literally are taking away their mind. What's keeping their mind engaged? So putting him in a sense of confusion, looking for his little baby. He started taking care of Jamora when she was 9 months old. That's his little baby, and he
Hmm.
raised her. He raised her, and like his own daughter. So it's this, in my opinion, this is extremely cruel what she's doing, not to Demore, but to her own father. And to what detriment? I have no idea. It is a terrible thing to experience, Martha C. But at the end of the day, there should be no reason in the world why whatever vendetta you have, or whatever beef you have with a family member, should put you in position to want to do harm to another, especially someone that's supposed to be as revered and loved as your own father. Um, I could never do that to my dad. I could have never been able to do that to him. There were plenty of people that I did not want around my father, but guess what? I never fought against it. I didn't go out of my way. And I was the person who was really helping hold the family together financially. I was the person who was doing a lot of things. I gave up my life to move home to make sure that my parents didn't lose their house. Like, I'm the one that made all those sacrifices. I could have put my foot down about a lot of things. I didn't like my sister Shelly around. She was drunk. She was high all the time. Her presence in the house was very agitating. But at the same time, my dad adopted her. That was his daughter too. So all that being said, it was for me to remove anything or anyone, it would have been wrong. It would have been wrong, completely. And not only that, what these diseases are is a symptom of the end of someone's life. Like, you're not going to survive forever with this thing. The forgetfulness doesn't just happen to your memories, it happens to your body function. After a while, your body starts forgetting how to function, and things start shutting down. So this is the beginning of the end of his life.
So not only does uh Laura T. Gatz is helping to like destroyed Demore's life, and she's also helping to destroy
The
the
grandfathers.
father. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you really look at it,
yeah.
but her whole thing is her allegations. What she has is allegations, and one of the allegations. What we talked about a few of them, but she Gatz talks about harm and fear, where she
Mm-hmm.
said she suffered substantial fear and emotional distress and alarm, recognizing that as a former federal prosecutor, she faces real safety risks when someone publicly incites violence against her. Well, number one, Karen moved. No one incited violence, in my opinion, against her. But what you're doing is going along with a narrative. This person is going along with a narrative,
Mm-hmm.
which the reason why Demore even had to take it that far to get a lawsuit against the mother, who's the CEO of Roc Nation, is because that person went too far in overreaching her parental, or just
Well,
stalking and cyber harassing her own daughter, and it's intimidating. Had a whole crew of people do it. So,
yeah,
but her,
not
like I said, her whole thing is harm and fear for uh, the safety risk, etc.
well.
To
Listen
her,
to
but
me.
it's
Let
made
let
up.
let's break this down. Let's break this down. Harm and fear. By no means did I see in any of the so-called evidence that they put up stating that all of the social media attacks were creating harm and fear. At no point in time did you see anyone say, "Hey, we're putting cameras out in front of your house and we're going to be watching you. Hey, we're going to make sure because we know where your office is, we're following you, we're watching you. Hey, we're going to make sure that we call the police and call in fake stuff on you so that they can come and have your spouse arrested for things that they're not doing." See,
Hmm.
nobody is threatening these things. Nobody said, "Hey, if you don't stop representing my mother in this case against my husband, we're going to have all of these people call." And and it's just so weird because you're sitting here creating all of this fake outrage, and it's nothing but a cover for the reason why all of this is happening in the first place. Now, for
Yeah.
someone who was a former state's attorney, a United States attorney for the state of
Well,
Florida.
technically she was an assistant
Okay.
to yeah to an
So
attorney,
so she was
ex
an AU
assistant.
so she was an AUSA. Whatever the case may be, she used to be a representative of the people, okay? And when you were a representative of the people, if there's something that should be held to a high statute, it should be observing the Constitution and the amendments that support the Constitution.
Yeah.
Okay? Everyone has their First Amendment right to stand up for and defend themselves, especially when they're being lied on, especially when they're being targeted. All of these things, the lawsuit, because of the lawsuit, because of the lawsuit, because of the lawsuit, all of this happened because the Hadleys' First Amendment rights, their rights to privacy, their Second Amendment rights, they're like all of their rights were totally obliterated by actions that were unwarranted. There was nothing that
Right.
these people did that deserved them being followed. There was nothing that these people did that deserved them having their phones hacked into, having their private communications and transmissions being totally surveillanced. And it's crazy because they everyone keeps saying, "Oh, well, the only reason her mother did this was because she was in fear for her life because she was being SA'd." No, she wasn't, because she was being DV'd. No, she wasn't. And there is evidence to prove all of this. You want to know the one thing that I thought was interesting? Hold on a second. Let me get this picture. Where is this picture? Here we go.
Oh yeah, I was trying to pull
This
that up. Like
this
I said,
was
I'm
some of
glad
her
you're
other
here because my
evidence. Here's some of
yeah.
the other evidence. So this is
Yep.
Demore sharing her interview on the Jaguar Wright show and asking
Hmm.
people to come and watch it, asking people to come and see it. It says, please come and watch episode 1 and 2. She's speaking about what's going on in her life, what's happening, all of this. And this is part of the evidence that how funny is it that this is her evidence and she's, the person that was contracted to take our channel down.
Yeah. Well, let's go into the core allegations
Hmm.
of where she's trying to, you know, her, I would say, or just run her Karen, her scam, right? Because to me, like I said, this is all frivolous, baseless. But she has the pattern of obsessive posting. So since May of 2025, May 28th, she said that Hadley posted hundreds of times on X and on Instagram about Ms. Gatz, identifying parties in counsel and witnesses in two related federal suits and revealing personal contact details. There's also the incitement to harass and I guess the incitement to violence. So she claims that Demore posted included calls to guys. So her 1,700 followers, guys to threaten and harm Ms. Gatz using the hashtags Justice for Demore to rally harassment. So she basically said that hashtag, it said justice in the hashtag, but it was a call to harass her. I don't understand that. And then there's
Bless up,
also the
Temper.
false.
Welcome. Oh no,
Yeah,
Temper
what's
just
up,
popped
Tim?
in the building.
Also the false allegations, or I'm sorry, the false accusations and doxing. So she said on June 22nd at 10:05 p.m. She said Demore published Mrs. Gatz's name and photo, the firm profile link, and false claims of unethical conduct. Then followed up with this is how she looks now, and then put a post to facilitate like real world identification, and then the whole actual threats that materialized. The law firm immediately received harassing emails, threats of violence if Ms. Gatz did not leave Demore alone. And the comments under Hadley's post calling for someone to get rid of these people. Um, yeah, I don't know if she's going to be able to get this whole thing pushed through because it's baseless in my opinion. What do you think of
Well,
that?
I mean, what I think is that if you actually had real solid evidence that these things were going on, considering all of the exhibits that you put up to the court, it seems like you would have had those exhibits as well. Where is the exhibit? Where are all of the harassing messages to the law firm?
Yeah,
Where are those messages at?
they're
Like
not
that's the
they're,
first
they're
thing
not
that
in
I'm
there.
asking. Where are
Yeah,
they?
they're not
Of
in there.
all of the
You
stuff
don't
that she
see it.
posted, of all the stuff that she posted, she said they were putting like threatening emails. Wasn't that it? It was
Yeah, where are those emails?
where are the emails? Where are the emails with the threats? Like I don't understand why you wouldn't post that. And salute 44 people in the building, 44 likes. No, seriously, it's kind of crazy.
So she wanted an
It's kind of
immediate
nuts.
ex parte temporary injunction forbidding Demore from any further cyber stalking. That that includes the posting on social media about Ms. Gatz. Um, so she wants a permanent injunction after the hearing, extending those prohibitions to all stalking and cyber stalking. And she additional protections the court deems necessary to include and involving law enforcement to enforce that order. I'm not going to say, you know, because we kind of know some other stuff that went on behind the scenes, and we'll keep that to ourselves, keep it to our chest, keep it close to our vest. Remember, I said that.
Mm-hmm.
But we know there's some other stuff going on, and it's just getting ridiculous. This is all a part of the intimidation tactic that they're doing on her. All right, what you just pull up? This is the
This is one of the
intimidation
posts.
harassment.
Yeah, this is one of the posts that
Yeah.
they said were, was Demore intimidating and harassing
Hmm.
them. And what I see is
Hmm.
someone sharing their story about what's happening to them, why they're being forced to be in court, why they're being forced to have to deal, with their own family member and everything that's being lobbied against them. It's just once again, I find it really funny because all of this when it first hit the scene, it was Demore is suing her mom for X, Y, and Z and X, Y, and Z. And then the next thing you know, there are social media content creators that are passing around a video that was AI, it was not real, of a fake DV situation that was blown out of proportion, taken out of context, and people were sharing that story around. So, what if we found out that that came directly from Roc Nation, that came directly from Desiree Perez? Would that give them the right to be able to go out and sue them for the same thing? Like
Hmm.
there's a whole lot of throwing rocks and hiding hands. And more importantly than that, Demore sharing her story, she's sharing her story. She can't make other people not say what they want to say or do what they want to do. You know, you can ask people, hey, please do not do this in my name. Don't threaten anyone in my name. Don't do this. Don't do that. But if you have an unhinged fan that takes this as a reason, and understand this, there are a lot of people that are enemies of Roc Nation. A lot of people that are enemies. Um, which is part of the reason. And let's just be clear. I'm definitely not a fan. And I think everybody knows that. I am definitely not a fan.
That's funny. I was just looking at that post.
Hmm. Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Speak on it. Speak on it.
I'm definitely not a fan. And regardless of how I feel about Roc Nation, how I feel about the CEOs, how I feel about some of the employees, from the second that we started dealing with the Demore Hadley story, we have been nothing but respectful.
Very.
We have been nothing but decent. Matter of fact, I had some real heavy things to say about Miss Reynoso Perez. I sure did. But the second that I had spoken with her daughter and the second that we decided to take on the story, we knew the most important thing to do was to keep things as respectful as possible for
Hmm.
all intents purposes. Because let's just be clear. Let's be very clear. Everything that we say and do in the public eye could affect her real life case.
Exactly.
We don't want to give her opposition the ability to win against her because we went too crazy and we went too hard on our own personal bias. The one thing that everybody was, trying to say when we first started working on this story, oh, she just wants an excuse to go after Jay-Z. She just wants an excuse to go after Jay-Z. Has anybody heard me mention that man's name? Has anybody heard me mention any of his names regarding this case once?
No,
Not at all.
no. But he's catching
Not at
hell.
all.
He's catching hell in other places. That's the funny thing. That's the irony of it all.
Yeah,
It's like the kids of the co-owners are just ah. It's yeah. You ain't had to say nothing because the God, the real God, is taking care of everything.
yeah. He gonna deal with all of the fake ones. He gonna deal with all of the pretenders. But my point is, we knew that that's what we needed to do. Not only is it responsible journalism, but it's extremely empathetic because no matter how monstrous all of the details are regarding this situation, that's still her mother. If she want
Hmm.
to run down on her mama, she can run down on her mama all she wants. I can't do anything about that. Salute, Ms. Act, welcome. But understand this, it's not my position and it's not my place to do it. You
Yeah,
know, it
and
we
you didn't
yeah,
even with the question. No, not to cut you. Even with the questioning, you didn't get all crazy with um the questioning, like trash it in and trying to like you didn't get all you did not get disrespectful with how you handled the interview. Salute to you for that. You kept it classy. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just wanted to say that because I think people need to look at that and just be like, yeah, it wasn't a hit piece or anything. Like, oh yeah, we're down with rock. We weren't even on that. That wasn't. That's not what it was for. It was really just to get this story out there because people needed to understand the severity of what was this lady was going through.
people need to understand how serious this stuff is. People need to understand that these things happen all the time. See, for me to go out attacking these people in any way, I'm not helping. I'm not helping them. I'm not helping her. I'm not helping the world in any way. What I can do is attack the facts. And what I can do is attack the lies. And that's what we've done. You know, for me, the most important part of this interview was making sure that we kept the celebrity out of it, that we kept the celebrity worship and all of that out of it. The most important thing in my mind was making sure that this was a human interest story and people were able to see the real life consequences to what happens when the fame machine comes after you and starts to chew your life apart. And that's what's happening now. As we're looking at it, there are a lot of people that are getting involved in this story who are now diverting attention away from this story to talk about the celebrity aspect and what celebrities are involved in this and the that and the whoop diddy whoop. And I'm not going to lie, from the very beginning, I was really, I was really, I won't say worried, but definitely concerned at the ability or the celebrity factor of all of this to spin the conversation and the narrative away from their real life story. Um, so that's why it's important for us. You know, when I'm sitting there listening to tough, not tough, ticket TV, totally going over the details of what happened out of sequence and wrong, you know,
That's why it was
and kind of,
important for us to put it out there correctly.
mm-hmm. And that's why we're, you know what I mean? We're addressing this. We're going to make sure that all of this gets handled. And there's more to this story and more to this conversation. And we're going to be going over that on the Jaguar Wright effect after we finish with this here. So there's more. Wait a minute. Auntie Leah says Facebook is nefarious. It's so evident. I had a video that was going viral, and right in the middle of the peak of it, the peak in channel growth, I was issued a copyright strike.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, on the Tupac short, and that's how it works. Oh, you mean on? I'm sorry, you mean on YouTube? Oh no, absolutely. But see, that's the thing. They want to keep Those who are really, 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 really trying to get the truth out there to the people, they want to keep them low. They want to keep the
Hmm.
lies high. They want to keep truth tellers low. They want to keep the lies high, and they want to make it so that, people miss what's really going on. And the Hadley story is very important. It's extremely important. And once
Yeah.
again, this isn't us poking at anybody, because see, what they really want is for people to start making it all about them, for people to start getting all of this stuff really personal and start fighting and infighting and infighting and infighting until people forget how important this story is. You
Right.
know, yes, justice for the Hadleys. That's our hashtag. That's been our community hashtag from the very beginning. We also support justice for them, justice for Demore, Roc Nation downfall. We support all hashtags that will be able to keep bringing people back to the truth of this story. Absolutely. But see, people take it beyond the hashtags. And then the next thing you know, they want to talk about, oh, such and such is stalking me, such and such is harassing me, and blah, 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 blah. And it's her fault, because that's what they're doing right now. They're
Yeah.
taking other people who have a, their own relevant gripes with Roc Nation, and they're piling on. But it's not fair that people like, for Lara Gatz to be able to say that it's Demore, who, by the way, 90 days ago, nobody even knew she existed. Not in the world.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
let's be real about this. Let's talk about what we're seeing and what we're not seeing. Demore Hadley was not a name. Demore Lopez, Demore Perez. These were not public names. Javon Hadley. These were not public names. These were not names that people knew. Had never heard of them. Never. So now you're saying that someone who goes from having virtually no online, and I mean no online action, have the ability to garner half of America to come against Lara Gatz and her firm and make her feel they're afraid. Like, come on.
I'm sure Lord Gatz knows the story and knows about the Dr. Bulber, who's more of a threat to the public than Demore is. I'm sure she knows about Jeffrey Brown, who was one of the private investigators who was hired by Desiree Perez to follow and stalk. I'll say stalk the Hatleys. I'm sure she's very aware of that. For her to go here with it and say, "Oh my God," she's pulling a Karen. That's
Pulling
all.
a
That's
Karen.
all. She's pulling a full Karen.
She's pulling a Karen White. I'm not your superwoman. I'm not the kind that you can have and go strike and think that everything is okay.
I'm only on fucking YouTube.
Like,
This ain't
seriously.
no CNN. You funky ass. No, let me. Yeah, we gonna be nice.
No, but
Um,
we can have a laugh, because honestly, this stuff is ridiculous. And when you think about the fact that this is also the woman who is representing in the case against Javon,
yeah.
and
Oh
that
yeah.
she was also manipulating the situation to try to make it seem like Demore had turned against her husband. Now, of course, it was before they got married, but let's not forget, they were hauling Javon back into court, filing more charges against him, trying to make him look like he was a human teleporter and that he had
Mhm.
essayed, you know, Demore, and that he had done all of these things. They hired a lawyer pretending to be representing Demore while she was being held unlawfully
Yeah.
in a mental health hospital. And it was Laura Getz who showed up trying to get information and trying to weasel her way into those proceedings,
Mm-hmm.
while she's also representing the three witnesses that were in the house who saw no abuse, changed their story on several occasions, were alerted to go and descend upon Demore and Javon, even though nothing was going on. And this was what, the September, what was this, September what, 2022?
September, yeah, September 20, yeah,
I think this was the
or 20.
September 2022 incident
Mm-hmm.
where they descended upon them and came in. Nothing was happening. They started attacking him. They said that they heard they can't speak English, don't understand English, don't know what they were talking about or what they were saying or what they were arguing about. Nothing. They got a phone call from someone who was in New York watching them live online. Lara Getz is representing these people
Mm.
against Demore's husband.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a huge conflict of interest, in my opinion, because your witnesses kept changing their story.
Yeah.
They never saw what they said happened. And even though the police were called and the police were sent, police found no evidence of any of it either.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is definitely a conflict of interest for Laura Getz to be involved in any of this in any way. And for her to be the attack dog, the social media attack dog that they're using to go and chase down and run down on anybody who is sharing this story. What it proves is that you're a part of the intimidation crew.
There you go. Bingo.
You're
Yep.
you're
You're just as bad as a Jeff Brown. You're just as bad as a Dr. Bober.
you're
When
you're
it all
you're
comes
just
down
as
to
yeah, you're just as bad as the caddies.
it, yeah, when it all comes down to it, if there was ever to be a RICO, they may need to include you.
I mean,
That's just what I.
allegedly, I don't see how they could miss you with all of the work that you've done to help put phony cases on innocent people with no evidence. Or maybe that's the motivation.
Hmm.
Maybe the actual motivation is that you're trying to distress the court and you're trying to distress you know, their attorney Hilton Napoleon. You're trying to distress the Hadleys to the point where they'll give up, so none of you are actually completely exposed in the eyes of the law.
Hey,
Welcome,
Tawana.
Tawana. You
Building.
know, I think it's very interesting that people are not paying attention to the fact that all of this intimidation is to cover up the intimidation
Hmm.
of
Pretty much.
descending upon people's lives. It's just, it's punitive. But for Demore to be held accountable for other enemies of Roc Nation, I don't think that's fair. And for it to be made to seem like this woman who had virtually zero presence in social media, no presence in pop culture in any way, and for them to literally say that she was able to spearhead an attack to get the entire internet to come against this law firm and this woman, I think that's kind of ridiculous. Her story was shared. People found similarities. Let me go back and grab this one, because like even saying that this was, how do you blame Demore for this?
Nah. Well, let me say something about the
Like for that to
legal.
be used, for that to be
Let me say,
used. mm,
let me say something about the legal and ethical implications. So the balancing the First Amendment the freedom of speech rights against targeting threats and doxing. Um, Demore never encouraged anyone to threaten anyone or anything or anybody. What cyber stalking looks like in the legal sense and why courts are increasingly taking it serious. Yeah, cyber stalking is a real thing. We get that. We understand
Hmm.
why the courts are taking it serious. Um, you have, I mean, you have maniacal people out there that would see something and get real passionate about a certain topic, and it'll inflame them or it'll incite them, and they there's no way of knowing how they would respond or how they would react to something. So, you know, for them to say that she's telling these people to say or do, no, no, that nah, it's just
Let's be
ridiculous.
very
They
clear. All of this didn't become public and didn't come to the public. It's been what, barely 2 months. It's been barely 2 months.
yeah,
Everybody can go back and look. Nicki Minaj has been speaking out about Roc Nation since far before that.
oh yeah,
She's
and
been
she has
running down on
way
Roc
more.
Nation since last year. She was
She has
running down
way
on
more
Roc
followers.
Nation the second that Lil Wayne got overlooked for Kendrick Lamar at, at the Super Bowl. She's been speaking out, and the Barbs have been on the hunt and on the attack. Okay, just because they're supporting Demore's story doesn't mean that she's the one that's enacting them to say and do anything that they're doing. They've been saying that. And for her to be able to use this as evidence to try to say, oh, Demore went online and she went and she got all of these people and she gathered these people up and now they're coming after me and they're doxing me and they're doing this and they're doing that. Understand this. This is somebody else that has accused Roc Nation of hacking into their device, just like Demore was. Her,
Hmm.
her devices were hacked into. Nicki Minaj has also
Hmm.
said her devices were hacked into. These are
Hmm.
completely different people. She didn't know any of these people. For her to share it is not inciting anything.
Nah.
What it is saying, hey, that happened to me too. Has this happened to anyone else? Did anybody say, like, when you go back and you think about the Me Too movement and the people that they went after in the Me Too movement and all of the stuff that went up, can you imagine if Harvey Weinstein or if Robert Kelly and them had decided to file lawsuits against the survivors, saying, look
Yeah,
at what they're doing.
they would just look as guilty as they really were.
Look at what they're doing. Oh my God, they're inciting everyone online to come after us. Because Me Too was saying a lot of strong words, and there were a lot of threats made against those people. This is essentially the same thing. Essentially, this is the same thing. There were
Hmm.
people that said, Me Too, Me Too, Me Too, Me Too. Their cases had absolutely nothing to do with one another. Some of these people didn't even know each other, but they had similar experiences. That's not was Rose McGowan blamed for everybody that said Me Too too? Like I just find it interesting how these so-called lawyers feel it's okay for them to just be able to go into court and just file paperwork because see that's what I see. I see the filing of paperwork and the filing of more paperwork, trying to exhaust the court, trying to exhaust the clerks, trying to exhaust the attorney on the other side, just to drag things out, hoping that things will die down. And meanwhile, keeping the pressure up, which, by the way, has been a tactic this entire time. Am I wrong? I mean, isn't that what happened when, Javon, was it the second time he was arrested? And
Hmm.
they knew that they didn't have anything to charge him with. They knew they weren't going to be able to make it stick. But if I'm correct, it was the Quinn Emanuel lawyers. that came in and said, can you give us a little bit more time because we want to keep
Hmm.
the pressure on. We want to keep him on edge.
Hmm. Well, yeah, there's no ethics. There's no ethics in that.
And that is wasting the court's time. But the simple fact that these people feel comfortable enough with using these tactics when they know they're wrong. And now you want to try to make the victims look like they're villains. You want to try to make the victims look like they're guilty of something. You want to try to make the
Hmm.
victims look like it's insane to me. And I don't understand it. I do not understand how people feel like they can consistently keep getting away with using the law to hurt people
Hmm.
when they're going to the law asking for help, asking for aid, asking for assistance. But this evidence that she's putting up, the social media evidence saying that, oh, they've come together and she has just she pulled everyone online and she got everybody online to come after me and to dox me and to threaten me and to harass me. Most of the people that are saying justice for the Hadleys and justice for them and justice for Demore had a problem with Roc Nation and Desiree Perez long before they even knew Demore Hadley's name. I don't know. In my opinion, I would be seeing if there's a way I could file a motion to get half of that stuff thrown out based on that.
Yeah.
Because you cannot blame this woman for inciting this kind of negative response against the kind of stuff that you're doing when they were already saying it and already doing exactly, Martha. See, they are projecting all of everybody else's disgust for them, for this company, and for their tactics. And now they're trying to take it all and they're levying it against Demore. And that is so unfair, in my opinion. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, no, you're right. I was just essentially just going to get into the whole thing of, what happens after this ex parte order. I think a hearing uh, has to take place first. Everything needs to be looked at, and then but she's trying to rush the process. For whatever reason, they're trying to rush the process. They're just getting real ridiculous with the intimidation and using the courts to bully. And that's pretty much how I'm looking at it. The possible defenses that the Hadleys might raise, and I mean, only I'm going to look into the timeline for the full injunction hearing. But other than
Hmm.
that, yeah, it's just intimidation. They're just intimidating, and this Laura Gatz got a bunch of people's channels taken. Struck
Hmm.
YouTube, struck Twitter, struck Instagram on behalf of Roc Nation, and then you're
Yeah.
coming after the daughter. I mean, Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles can sing.
You're coming
That
after the
this is some.
victim. You're coming after the victim and now blaming her for all of the many enemies that Roc Nation already had. Like that's the thing. And honestly, I'm kind of like I'm putting my feet up on that point because when you think about it, you're sitting here saying that this woman needs to be shut up. Her social media needs to be shut down. Everything needs to be taken down. She needs to disappear and she needs to go away. Guess what? If even if that were to happen, they're still going to keep coming after your law firm, man. They've been doing it. They're still going to keep coming after Desiree. They've been doing it. This is nothing
Mm-hmm.
new.
It's not gonna stop anything. Not gonna stop nothing.
This is nothing new, and that's the thing. And see, and that's what was that one that one post that we the one image where it was one of the barbs on X had said, if
Hmm.
you shut her up, we're not going to stop. We're going to come harder.
Where is that?
And she listed that as evidence of a threat against her and her law firm. That's taken completely out of context.
Oh yeah,
That's taken completely out of context because basically what they're saying is whether you shut her down or not, the Barbs aren't going to stop speaking. They've been speaking and they're going to continue to keep speaking. That's what it's saying. It's saying don't
yeah,
blame her for why we're after you. See, it's the interpretation. It's the interpretation. The way she submitted that evidence, she made that evidence sound like we're going to attack you because of Demore. And that's not it. And Demore never asked. The only thing she asked people to do was share the information and help her get her story out there because she was being suppressed and that they were going to put a gag order on her and this was going to make all of this go away. And once again, it is a violation of her First Amendment rights. That's all she ever asked. She did not ask content creators to be willing to commit to her story and be willing to go to court and fight Roc Nation. That's all she ever asked for was support, prayer, and awareness. And that's what we agreed to do.
yeah. And it's
But to sit there,
unfortunate.
go ahead. Mhm.
Oh no, no. I was just gonna say not to cut you. It's unfortunate that um, everything is being taken out of context. Even the fact that her tagging the other content creator, the what did Corey Holker call her? I ain't gonna go there,
Well,
but
y'all know what I call her. I
the
call her
pastor.
trash to the grouch. I call her
I'll
trash
call
to
it
the grouch.
pastor. That interview was shared on Instagram by Trasha, and it tagged Demore, and this was done after the gag order was in place. So
Hmm.
to me, it looks like again, to me, that old interview that she did with her with Demore Trasha,
It didn't just tag
like,
her. It didn't just tag her.
it made her a
She had it.
collaborator. It made her a
It
collaborator.
tagged her as a collaborator.
So it looked only the optics of it looked crazy because
No,
now
the
it's like
optics of it looked like she was still that she was still sharing, still working on social media after the gag order had been put into place, which is wild because the contempt order was already in the works before
right,
all of that happened.
right, right.
Like
It's
that's what people got to understand. These contempt orders, I need everybody to look at the timeline. They had already put in for a gag order when we first started talking with Demore. Okay. So we're talking what, the end of May?
yeah. It was about
They had
three
already,
weeks, two,
yeah,
two weeks.
they had already gone in. Well, we went to trial. We went to the first day of trial. We did our shoot there that day for the Jaguar Wright show promo reel and all of that. Um, we came back. Yeah, my birthday came and went. That was a week later. It was the next week. It was the following
Hmm.
week. Um,
Hmm.
when this story broke loose for everybody. And then it was not long after that that I did the AI breakdown video calling bullshit on the whole thing. And then we spoke to Demore. We got the interview done immediately. And the reason why we got the interview done immediately and we got everything and we covered the whole story to make sure that we could memorialize everything that she had to say in defense of herself and her husband. The reason why we did that was because they had already gone for a gag order. So this gag order, even though it just came through what, 2 weeks ago?
Hmm.
What, it's been 2 weeks since the gag came through?
Yeah.
Okay, so it came through in July. That gag order was sought after in May.
Hmm.
In May. Now, I want you guys to think about that. That gag order was sought after in May, which is why We went in and we made sure we asked every question that we could possibly ask. We got all the information that we possibly could because we were going to be able. Oh no, they requested to expedite it
Mm-hmm.
in May.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to shut her mouth in May for whatever reason. And I'm not going to say for whatever reason. By the grace of God, the judge took her time. By the grace of God, and gave them a chance to strike out into the world and get their story out there. The judge gave them the opportunity, almost 2 months, 6 weeks, to exercise their First Amendment rights guaranteed to them as American citizens.
Yep.
And thank God for that time. I just find it funny that right before everything was about to close up, here comes Trashy K to get her interview,
Mm-hmm.
which she didn't release until after the gag was issued and ordered and decreed by the court. And then the next thing you know, she's putting up posts on Instagram listing Demore as a collaborator on that post,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that she was gagged already.
Yep. Yep. Well set up, in my
Let's
opinion.
just let's just be clear. That gag order had been on deck since May. And
Yeah.
guess what?
Yeah.
Guess when we found out the contempt orders went through? And it wasn't even us. We weren't even the first people to talk about it. BJ was speaking about it. And even then, and what was that? That was before the verdict, the Diddy verdict came in, that the
Mm-hmm.
contempt order was filed. Like the
Yep.
contempt order had already, that paperwork was already in the works. It was already filed
Mm-hmm.
before the gag was decreed. Now let's be clear. If I'm correct, the contempt order is what was supposed to be um in relation to breaking the gag order, correct?
Mm-hmm. Well, no. Well, well, yeah. We got to look into that. I think you.
Because I'm trying to be clear.
We have to look into that. Yeah.
Because
We got to look into that.
no, well, understand this. The contempt order is to silence them from speaking on social media.
Right.
The gag order was to silence them from speaking publicly, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have been in contempt of the lawsuit because all of these motions are a part of the lawsuit that Demore Hadley issued out against Desiree Perez, Roc Nation, Iconics, Signa. Like all of these motions are in response to Demore's lawsuit. Let's be clear on that. When I look and I read the court filings, it says plaintiff Demore Hadley, and then it says defendants, and it's a paragraph of people. So the contempt order was issued at about or the exact same time that the gag order was finally granted.
Right.
Okay, so we're clear on that. I'm not off.
No.
Okay, so tell me something. How the hell are you filing contempt on a gag order that hadn't been granted for social media posts that happened weeks before the gag order was granted?
Hmm.
Let's be clear about that. Are we not looking at the evidence? June 3rd at some point? Like, ooh, uh-oh, not that, not that, not
No,
that, not that, not that, not that.
no, yeah,
I'm sorry.
not that
I
one.
hit the wrong one. I hit the wrong one.
Hmm.
Um, ooh, I was trying to hit the other one. But let's look at this. This was all June 2nd. Like all of these things happened weeks before the gag order was issued. Like if we're looking at the dates and times, am I wrong?
No, yep.
So I'm
That's what I said.
really,
But
really,
we
really trying to
explore the
understand.
timeline. Got to
I'm
explore the
trying to,
timeline.
oh no, we definitely have to explore the timeline. And we want to thank everybody for the 60 likes. We want to thank everybody for everyone that's in here. Please keep hitting the like. Um, but let's be clear on this. That contempt order was already ready. It was already ready.
Yeah.
The gag order had been requested back in May. It wasn't issued until July, correct?
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's why putting out part four, moving forward, you just got to be very careful how you lay things out. These people are they are 10 steps ahead sometimes. So you know you
We
have
got to
to
be
pull back.
25.
Yeah, of course.
Well, see, that's
Pull
the
back
thing.
from using photos that are not you know copywritten or just that we're not sure of because
Hmm.
they will pull anything. They will try anything. And they've been suppressing the heck out of your story. I find it funny that Nikki shared it. She has over 200 million followers, and yeah, it didn't go up, but nothing but like about 40K, and that's just for the one video. YouTube needs to come out the closet, and you know, y'all with the BS, in my
No,
opinion.
it's not that they're with the BS. They are the BS. They're the reason why media can't be trusted. They're the reason why the American public is constantly confused. They're part of the
And the thing
problem.
is stuff like this goes on. They're gonna they're just gonna be they're part of the issue, and they're gonna be part of the reason why people are going to turn on a lot of these media outlets. Like people are pissed. The Epstein stuff, the people are pissed. Y'all about the French Revolution was nothing compared to what's gonna pop off. Y'all better start being truthful
Or maybe
and
that's what they're
honest
counting,
because
or maybe that's what they want. Or maybe that's
well
what
yeah, but
they
they
want.
maybe need to do
Maybe
that
maybe
so
what they really
they can
want.
try out this scalar weapons and all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe what they want.
They've already declared war the American people, and they try to flip it on the American people like it's an issue. Yeah, come on, y'all. Yeah, yeah,
It's just really starting to
Y'all
feel
better get it
like
together.
there are people in positions of power that want to make sure that all Americans are at each other's throats, do not agree on anything, and civil unrest becomes a state of consciousness. See, when it gets to the point where you inflame um, a country to the point where everyone is at each other's throats and everyone is going nuts, see, stuff like that, moments like that is when martial law starts getting whispered about. And we need to stop pretending like that's not real. It's so funny, so many people, they want to ask us questions of politics, and they want to ask us questions about what do we believe and who do we support and whoop-de whoop-de woo. And I just want to make something very clear. I believe in God. I support God. I have been an avid reader and studier of the book of Revelations. And the one thing that I know for sure, the one thing that I know that's real, the one thing that I know that's true is prophecy will always be fulfilled. You know, I've been saying that to people for quite some time. There's no point in me trying to fight against God's plan. You know, sometimes we're so busy trying to create what we want for the world that we keep forgetting this ain't our world. Doesn't belong to us. God controls this world.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it was us, the idiots that humanity is, that gave over dominion to the evil one. We gave over dominion. We decided to let evil be the landlord here. That was our choice. That's what we did.
Mm. Mm.
So that's not what God did. God gave us this beautiful world and said, here you go, here you are. And then we said, we're going to F around and find out. And we effed around and we found out, and we gave dominion to evil. That's our fault.
Mm.
But God still has the final say. Yes, evil is the landlord. We chose it. We decided to
Mm.
pay rent to the devil. Salute and shout out to Miss Lowdown because, you know, she just did a little video the other night. God bless her heart. And she was talking about these Labubu dolls. And they're supposed to be these cute little monster dolls, and some of them are being sold for up to $1,600. We went and we looked and we did a little research after we talked about her because we had spoke about on our podcast. We were talking about the Annabelle doll, and how the Annabelle doll took out one of her caretakers.
Mm.
And salute to Miss Lowdown. I don't know if she heard what we was talking about, but she went down the rabbit hole a little deeper with it. Found out the man, his spine was crushed up and he was alone.
Mm.
How his spine got crushed and he was alone, I do not know. But the only thing they said was in
Mm.
there with him was that daggone doll. Get him ugly dolls. Now,
Maybe he had another doll. Maybe he had a
yeah,
real doll that was a robot and it crushed his spine. We don't know what freaky stuff he was doing. Anyway, go ahead.
what freaky stuff he was doing, really? Really? The
I don't
real
know.
doll, the
How did his
real
spine get
robot.
crushed? What was he?
I'm gonna tell you something right now. Possession is real.
Yeah, you don't mess with the supernatural.
Possession is real. Okay? And understand this. The simple fact that there is a dial that people are given instructions to not touch and not do this, and ain't nobody decide to throw it in an incinerator is a mess.
Mm.
Because what it sounds like is they need to go and get that robot that keeps getting drunk and pouring liquor all over Beyonce at her show, and they need to go send him over there to get the Annabelle doll and throw her in the incinerator. That's what it sounds like to me. But see, at
Hmm.
the end of the day, you keep knocking at the devil's door. One day he's going to answer. There are all kind of mystifying things that happen all the time that people don't really want to give credence to, that they don't really want to talk about. But what I do find interesting is that these dolls are now, because when Miss Lowdown was doing, she was, you know, doing the research about it. She was talking about it was that this doll is, you know, a playful version of the Pazuzu monster from the not from Poltergeist, from the Exorcist. It was the demon that, you know, inhabited the young man in the Exorcist. And if you remember when we talked about it in the pods, I was telling you about all of the people who were unalived when they were doing the Poltergeist movie. So now we got this little doll out here that's supposed to be fashioned after this demon from
Mm-hmm.
from Poltergeist. We were just talking about how on no, I'm not Poltergeist, The Exorcist. We were talking about how, there were actors who literally passed away from terror and fear behind Poltergeist. And they said that there were supernatural things that were happening on that set. And now you got all these people out here selling all of these Labubu dolls. And guess who one of the celebrities is that's now
Mm.
promoting these little demon dolls?
I already know.
Megan the Mega Man, Mega Man Pete. She is promoting the little poo poo doll, the little boo boo dolls
Mm.
that are fashioned after demonic. Oh, and by the way, they're made in China. Well, actually, they're made in Hong Kong and then they're distributed by China. So I'm just trying to and then they talking about the $1 supposed to be a secret dollar, and that's the dollar that has all the special powers and whatever the case may be. But there's a lot of demonic stuff that's going on in pop culture these days. I just find it interesting that it's Rock Nation artists that are promoting this. It's bad enough they doing videos where people are turning into crows and being reborn, and people are turning into snakes and gobbling up little black men, and all of this stuff
Hmm.
is going on. And now you in this uncomfortable looking association with somebody who's stupid enough to be seen with you on a red carpet when there's a whole black man sitting in jail based upon her lies, which she laughed about. And Tory is still there. He's still in jail right now. He's a whole fool. He's a whole fool. That Playboy, he a whole fool.
Hmm.
And I hope she don't give him one of them little Labubu dolls, and then we find out that he done had a heart attack out of nowhere because the little Labubu doll done jumped up on his chest in the middle of the night and did a rain dance and knocked his ass down. I'm sorry, but when you got somebody that's fashioning themselves to be a real life low leader, you might want to think twice. But I guess people ain't thinking no more. All of this stuff is demonic. And let's be very clear, it takes some very evil forces to abuse the law and to abuse the court system in the manner and the way that they're doing. Do you remember that movie that I often reference when we talk sometimes? Uh, The Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves and Al
Yeah.
Pacino
Yeah.
and
Barely.
Shirley
Yeah, barely.
Theron.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Barely.
Well, the thing is, Keanu Reeves was this kick-ass bright young attorney, and he had a hot wife, and she was, she had a little legalese mind, and they were hustling and they were working and they were hustling and they were working and they was playing with the law. They was playing with the law. A lot of people said that he was a great lawyer, but they said that he danced on, the line of immorality when it came to the way that he had won some of his cases. Like there was actually a case where he had gotten off a PDFer who everyone
Mm.
knew was a PDFer, but he was able to find the right kind of legal maneuvering to get that guy off. And not long after he did that, all of a sudden, here comes this big law firm from New York. And man,
Mm.
oh man, oh man, did they entertain him? They wanted him so bad, they were willing to pay anything. They gave them access to the best apartments in the buildings that they owned. They had drivers, they had decorators, they had everything. And when they left the South and made it all the way up to New York, They found it hard keeping up with the lifestyle, but they gave it their best shot. They did everything that they could do, and then the next thing you know, they started driving a wedge in between the married couple, this young, bright married couple, Keanu Reeves and Charlize Theron. Kind of like how Demore was saying that they were doing with her at Iconics.
Hmm.
Got this hot new job, and the next thing you know, they were keeping him at the law firm round the clock, and they kept him working with one of their hot partners, young partners. She was, gorgeous and Italian, ooh, very sophisticated, and he was working so much, and he was never around, and she was alone, and she was left with these people, and they were odd, and she was just feeling so and she was like, "Oh, honey, this is the life, We get the money and we get to play. And get yourself a lover, get yourself a hobby, spend more money, do more shopping, drink more champagne. It's okay. This is how it is for all of us." Like they were really encouraging the separation of this really close relationship. You remember now? Am I jogging your memory? And as the descent happened betwixt the two of them, they kept piling on the work, piling on the work, piling on the work. And he was the hot new attorney and he was trying to earn, you know, he was trying to earn his spot there because he wanted to be the new shogun and the head of the law firm favored him very much, favored him very much. Now, in the midst of all of this, they wanted to drive a wedge between the two of them because they wanted to place the kind of spouse in his life that they wanted. And they were willing to do whatever they had to do to drive his actual wife crazy. Doesn't that sound kind of reminiscent of what they were doing with the Hadleys? A lot of like, kept, oh, don't you need to stay working. Meet this guy, meet that guy, meet this guy, meet that guy. Don't you
Hmm.
want to meet this player? We need you here. We need you to work more. We need you to do this. We need you to do that. All the money we pay you and you can't show up. This is what they were doing in this movie to this young
Yep.
couple. The exact same separation tactics. And they eventually were able to drive Charlize Theron's character crazy. And guess what? They were able to put her in a mental hospital.
Mm.
And it was in there that she unalived herself from all of the visions and the demonic possession and all of the stuff that was going on. You know, what's really interesting, it was after that moment, one of the women that worked at the law firm, she came to Keanu Reeves' character and she said, "Your father's waiting for you. Go see him." I'll never forget that scene when he walked out of that mental hospital after seeing his wife take her own life. And when he walked outside, the entire city was empty. And I think it hit me the way it hit me because that's exactly the way it looked when I was standing in the middle of, huh, what was that, Ninth
Mm.
Avenue or 9/11? Because that's exactly how empty the streets were that night after the
Mm.
crash had happened. I was there. I'll never forget. I'll never forget that. Walking out of my hotel, I walked across the street to Chevy's. It's no longer there now, which we just found out in New York. And I'll never forget, I was standing in the middle of the street and I was looking at the marquee, which was right across the street from the hotel at BB King's, and it said Roots canceled. September 11th on the
Mm.
marquee, BB King's Roots canceled. And yeah, it reminded me of Devil's Advocate. Sure did, Kat. Thank you for pulling that fact. And it was so ominous. Oh, goodness. And then out of nowhere, I seen this crazy Sikh drive down the street speeding away in his taxi. It was the only car I saw. And I'm like, who is he running from? And then that's when I seen people coming around the corner a couple minutes later, chasing after him. I guess they was trying to do something to him, trying to make him a terrorist. I don't know. Whatever.
Mm.
It was a
Mm.
strange night. But he uh he walked out and then he walked downtown to the condo, where the head of the firm was, who was played by Al Pacino. It was a really brilliant moment. And that's when he finally gives him the speech and lets him in on the gag and lets him know, I am your actual biological father. Yes, I'm the devil and I have plans for you. I've been watching you. I've been coddling you. I've been looking at you. I've been making sure that I've been pulling strings for you all of this time. I've been doing all of these things because I want you to come and be down with me. I want you. You are the one. And he starts asking him, well, how do you plan on taking over the world? We're just lawyers. He was like, oh, you don't understand. He said, being a lawyer
Mm.
gives you a backstage pass into everything, politics,
Mm.
all this kind of stuff. He said, billable hour after billable hour, acquittal after acquittal. He said, we'll fix every jury. We'll do this. We'll do that. He was like, man, he said, it will get conviction, and we'll stack them all the way up until we can choke God out.
Mm.
And I'm giving all of this to you. And then the woman that they was trying to hook him up with, turns out that was his half biological sister. And they were gonna be the 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 battling, the battling esquires straight from hell. And he said, all you have to do is choose. Just choose, free will. I can't make you do anything. But all you got to do is choose, and the world will be ours. Now, like Kat wrote down here, Devil's Advocate. This movie was made in 1997. What's happened to the law between then and now? Let's think about that. It's been almost 30 years since that movie came out.
Yeah.
And the very tactics and the things that they had talked about and they did in that movie are the kind of things that we're actually watching happening right now in real time. Am I wrong?
No.
Because that law firm that Al Pacino was the head of, the tactics and stuff that they use, it sounds very similar to Quinn Emanuel and the way they operate. Something gets thrown out, file an appeal, hold it up. Maybe we can get rid of all of the witnesses and then, they'll have to drop it anyway and then we'll be right.
Hmm.
Let's put gag orders on everybody and make sure nobody can tell the truth while we're paying off everyone allegedly and making sure that the truth never comes. I mean, it's the same kind of tactics that they were talking about in that movie. It's funny. They always say art imitates life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. What do you think?
Nah, you're on point. You're not tripping. Um, great points made. I think we just got to pick this back up and do a deeper dive, especially with the other case that we
Mm,
got a hold of
mm-hmm,
regarding Perez versus the Hadleys.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff in there too. But
Yeah.
when you have unlimited access to money and the ability to manipulate and corrupt the law, and you have political allies that have similar secrets that they want to cover up,
Yeah.
you got to start asking yourself, why aren't we praying more? Why aren't we talking about these things more? Because I'm telling you right now, God is still in control.
Yes.
He is still in control,
Yeah.
even in the midst of all of this.
Yep. Yeah. It's gonna get nasty. Tying in the NFL to a lot of this stuff, the Roc Nation, the remember
Well,
there's
let's
other
look at
shell
it.
companies.
I know.
I'm gonna really go in. I'm about to start going in. You already know. Just I'm kicking back, being cool right now. I'm about to start going in. There's all kind of shell companies that need to be investigated. There's all types of public officials that need to be investigated. Ain't nobody scared to uncover something up under this rock.
You
No
want to know
pun
what else?
intended.
You want to know what else nobody else is also talking about? The fact that last summer, Blink Twice was making its rounds,
Mm-hmm.
and now all of a sudden, we're back in the Epstein debacle, and don't nobody want to know the truth.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, everybody want to know the truth. Don't nobody want to. They want to act like they don't know. But
Rest in peace
yeah,
to Virginia Guthrie, and um, and condolences to her family, because I'm sure all of this that's going on right now is very hard for that woman's family right now, and her loved
yeah,
ones and the people that
yeah.
cared about her. Um, and just, when you have people like Stephen A. Smith saying nobody cares, is it real? I think it's real, but who cares? It's not affecting my life. It's affecting those people's lives, and
Mm,
it's just, yeah, we already know the truth, but the thing is for whatever reason, the truth doesn't mean anything until the powers that be are willing to accept it. And the truth is if we're not making the powers that be accept it, or deal with it, why would they ever? And I guess that's really my point. Oh no, Zoe Kravitz was very brave for putting that movie out. And you know what? Her life has gone through its own slings and arrows ever since that movie started getting national awareness. And I think a lot of people tend to forget she had been trying to get that movie and push that movie forward for 2 years before it finally broke last year.
mm-hmm.
They had been blocking that movie and blocking that movie and blocking that movie. But now that that movie is out and it made the circles and it made the rounds, now here we are. And that's why people have a hard time with those who really fight for the truth, those who really fight for the work, those who really fight for um, the innocent and the messed over, because they they want the whole world to believe that people like us don't exist. They want the whole world to believe that nobody cares. So when you have, voices that stand out and speak up who actually care, it reminds evil that there are people that are still willing to fight for good, that they don't have the whole world distracted, that they don't have the whole world bamboozled with Labubu dolls and cowboy hats and stupid songs and idiot videos. They don't want people like us out here. So salute to salute. Salute to everybody who cares. And once again, guys, justice for the Hadleys, it's important, because justice for them is justice for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Them not getting the justice they deserve, that hurts us. So us fighting for them, us fighting for this story, us fighting for the awareness of this story, both of them gagged, contempt orders, people doing all kinds of crazy stuff, filings on top of filings on top of filings. And the Moray is very strong. And you know what? She's the young woman that her grandfather and his partner raised her to be. See? Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is older, he will not depart from it. That's what it says in the Bible. So we see where Demore is. We see what her morals are. Because, like she said, even if her and Javon had have gone separate ways, she would still be doing this because she was raised to do the right thing. Hashtag justice for the Hadleys. It's I think the biggest problem that I'm having with this story right now, though, for me as a Black woman, is that all of these Black people who have talked about this story, none of them are talking about the fact that an innocent Black man has been railroaded into the system for crimes that he does not commit with actual evidence proving that he didn't do it. And no one is saying it's time to boycott Roc Nation.
They don't care.
No one is saying that. No, but when you look at the line of descent of all of this chaos, now Nessa is speaking, Colin Kaepernick's life partner and the mother of his child. Now she's speaking up. Are they going to put contempt on Demore for that too? You know, but now she's speaking up, and it's so wild because you and I were talking, and I was saying, how did we get here? How did we get here? We were boycotting the NFL. We were boycotting the NFL. The blackout was real. There were Black people who owned boxes who were not showing up to games. The blackout was very real. Colin Kaepernick was kneeling. He was fighting for the rights of players. And guess what? Ain't much change for the players. The only thing that changed was the halftime show. That was it. Nothing really changed for the players in the league. Am I wrong? But now she's saying that Roc Nation used all of its, you know, digital wilds to create to create a choking off of the activism that they were doing. And all it took was all it took was some rap music. Yeah, and still no damn banjo. Still no damn banjo. All it took was rap music and the halftime show to get everybody to forget why we were speaking up. It's so funny because it was you that reminded me, honey. I think when you had said when 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 Sean Carter did the whole "we're past kneeling" thing, it was Miss Perez that was standing behind the Jigga Man
Standing behind them.
with a
Yep.
smile on her face. So you and your number one boy managed to stop a very worthy boycott that was a pro-Black agenda so that you could come in there. They were going to they were interested in giving the gig to Jermaine Dupri, but the Jigga Man convinced him to step aside so that he could steal it from him. Um, then they come in with that. Then the next thing you know, 2019, they're running the halftime show. The boycott is over. Colin Kaepernick, his NFL career pretty much died after that. Uh, and by the way, 2019 was around the same time that Javon Hadley had started being followed around by a surveillance team that was hired by the CEO of Roc Nation. A year after that, there was the incident with Tory Lanez that happened in 2020 when he decided he no longer wanted to sign any of the contracts and he wanted to stay independent and teach other artists about independent freedoms and so on and so forth. And then
Mm-hmm.
there was the alleged powing that we all know was a lie, and none of that ever really happened, or at least he didn't really have anything to do with it. And there's evidence allegedly to prove all of that he had been set up. All of this perpetrated Roc Nation, another black man, then he's railroaded into the prison system a couple years later. You got
And let me say this. These two people are monsters. I'm talking about the two co-owners of Roc Nation. What I'm gonna say, and I pulled up something that Julian Assange said, and it's here. You can't see the whole thing, but Julian Assange said the reason why the FBI won't let the Epstein client list come out in courts is because if they did, their blackmail would no longer be useful, and the CIA would lose control over all the powerful people they spent decades setting up. Shout out to Julian Assange. Where I'm going to take this is the two traitors, because I'll call them two traitors to the black community, Jay Z and Desiree Perez. I'll just put it out there like this because they were they were employers of the rock, the cocaine, the rock, right?
mm-hmm.
That was intentional. That was intentional genocide on a people. Let's put this
Yeah,
on the United States government's doorstep. You got two operatives who helped push drugs into many black communities that helped destroy the black community. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna start pushing back my crack epidemic was intentional genocide movement because people like these two need to be held accountable
but
for it.
understand this.
But no, they get to live off.
Understand
They get
no,
to live off their. They get to live their life, and they get to be millionaires and billionaires when the average person who family was destroyed by the crack epidemic is barely picking up the pieces, things like that. No, no, no. We really need to just push a movement where, okay, these monsters have been let off the leash for too long.
crack Rock
Let's go ahead and
Nation.
start really putting it. Let's
Crack
start putting it
Rock
on their doorstep.
Nation.
What
But
Julian Assange said, and
mhm.
what I'm saying, what we need to do with these monsters, in it's all in line. Real spill.
but let's be very clear about this. It's already been proven that it was the CIA that was behind that entire agenda.
I know that's why I said let's put it back all on their doorstep.
It's already been
If people,
proven. Just like it was the CIA that went after the Black Panther Party,
I know,
trying to turn an organization that started, feeding kids at school in the morning and doing breakfast at school for the families who were struggling to get their children fed. Yeah, crack Rock Nation. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
I know,
I, I
I
mean, I
know.
mean, this is what the
Oliver North,
CIA has done. This is what the
Bill
CIA has done
Casey,
at
Bill
all of these.
Casey was the head of the CIA.
Bill
Yeah, I know.
Clinton and the Clintons were the one of the number
Yeah,
one
hmm
political backers of the Obamas. And you want to know what I saw funny right before you went live? There was a post on X where somebody actually had the audacity to say, "Don't you miss the Obamas in the White House because they cared about people and they cared about this and they cared about
mm,
that? And don't you wish
no,
they were back in there? And don't you wish they were this and they were that?" I'm gonna tell you this right now. When you start seeing posts like that, please know there's a shakedown coming. There's a shakedown coming. But this
mm,
is my thing. The black community is always sitting there talking about, oh, the black community, the black community, the black community. But yet we're always supporting things that have done nothing but destroy the black community. The simple fact that pharmaceutical dealers are still worshiped and praised. Like, I'm sorry. Let's just keep it all the way a buck. Everybody running around talking about the clips and talking about this and talking about that, whatever the case may be. The simple fact that these niggas is 50 some odd years old, about 50 years old, and they running around still talking about pushing dope at 50. I got a problem with that.
Ain't that much cocaine dealing in the world.
I'm just saying, I got a problem with that. And guess what? They left Def Jam so that they could go over to Crack Rock Nation. Like it's the simple fact that we're still supporting companies and we're still supporting agendas that are doing nothing but destroying our communities, destroying our families, destroying our people. There's a problem with that. There is a serious problem with Black mentality in the United States where we're sitting here applauding the desecration of Black families. We're sitting here, we're making posts go viral, where we're watching, two Black people who have been together for 20 years with a small child still in the house destroy each other and rip each other apart, and we're sitting there cheering it on and sign like we got issues. We got issues because you don't see any of the other communities doing this. You don't see them celebrating this stuff, just us. Meanwhile, anytime any of these demons, any of these devils who have done everything they can to destroy not only their own families but everyone else's families right along with them, the first thing people want to say is, oh man, you want to bring a good Black man down. Give me one good thing that these people are doing. And now we're listening to them sit there, DJ Envy and Charlemagne, clapping it up for the Jigga Man, trying to bring casinos into Manhattan and saying, yeah, 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 look what he's doing for Black people. How is he doing it for Black people? It's going to be the same thing that it was with the Barclay. He's going to get these people to turn it all over, and the white people going to come in, and ain't nobody going to make no money, and they just going to be slaves to the like. It's insane that they're still doing the same thing, and people are. But then again, why would they care? DJ Envy sat there and introduced half of the northeastern corridor to a man who had already been to a prison for pharmaceutical crimes, and then he came back out and started robbing people in real estate and paying off government officials in Poughkeepsie or something. Like and he's still on the radio, and people are trying to sit there and say, oh man, I don't think he's responsible. He better be responsible, because if you're telling me that he was able to introduce all of these people and help all of these people convince their money into that criminal's pocket, and he didn't know, that he needs to be thrown off of the radio immediately, because what it sounds like is not only does he not do his due diligence with people that he calls business partners, but he does not care about what his bad choices has done to the environment around him and the community around him. He shouldn't be on the radio. But then again,
Mhm.
if he's not on the radio, who's going to be there to try to make Charlemagne sound halfway credible when he's sitting there trying to convince everybody that these demons are decent people? Y'all need to really go and watch uh The Devil's Advocate. I really think. Matter
Mhm.
of fact, you want to try to do a movie night?
Yeah, we can.
You want to think about that?
Yeah,
Because we
let's
had
do it.
said we were going to do a movie night. Maybe we should do a movie night
Mhm.
for The Devil's Advocate and break it down and have a little commentary and have a little this, and we could do a little Q&A, because for real, when I think about that movie and when I think about the way that they use the law and the way that they use lawyers to completely corrupt and destroy the stuff that we're seeing going on right now. Yeah, we need to do Blink Twice again as well. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah, we gotta finish it.
we definitely got to
Yeah,
finish it.
let's set it up.
But yeah, maybe
Let's
we
set it
should
up.
think about that. No, seriously, because for that movie to have been filmed and released back in not filmed in 1997. I think they started production in 1996, but it was released in 1997. Um, and now, almost 30 years later, we're literally watching the blueprint for all of the stuff that we're seeing happening right now in media, in culture, in relevant, you know, day-to-day news, all of it. Like it's kind of frightening when you think about it.
Mm.
Acquittal after acquittal, hung jury after hung jury. until we choked a whole lot of heaven and kick it. Yeah, yeah. I'll never forget that line. Al Capone. I mean, not Al Capone. Al Pacino. He was, yeah, hung jury after hung jury. He said, "You saw the way you used that witch doctor to shut up that prosecutor and got that motion granted, and then we won the case." And he was literally bragging about that. And then we're hearing about all of the witchcraft that's allegedly being used in these record labels, and it's kind of mind blowing when you think about it. Spiritual
Yeah.
warfare, man. We at war. We gotta stay prayed up. Gotta stay prayed up.
Yep. Yep, y'all.
Well,
All right, y'all.
it's been a hell of a life.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I was just, saying that this is ridiculous. You let an animal off the leash, and this is what happens. It needs to be stopped. So, but yeah, besides that, on that note, I think we'll definitely continue this conversation. You gotta talk about the other case, and we'll figure out when we'll do that, and we'll figure out when we're gonna do the movie night and all that and all that. So just stay tuned, y'all people, and y'all will see soon. So
Absolutely.
all right, y'all. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all hit the like button out. We got I think got more likes than got people in here, so we appreciate that. Yeah, there's another case. The sister asked for another case. Yeah, there's another case. Just
Mm-hmm.
you'll see it on the Jaguar Wright effect. There's another case. This case was the Lara Gatz against
The Moray Hadley.
Demore. And I decided to just touch up on it because she's the one responsible for the removal of the two channels. And we're getting some get back on that. Um, but the other situation, yeah, Jag will cover that. And
Well,
yeah, we'll
hopefully
go
you're
from
gonna
there.
help me.
Yeah, of course.
We got a lot of stuff, a lot of ground to cover. I can't do all of this stuff alone. But
No, of course. Of course.
no, we definitely need to talk about the other case, Perez versus Hadley, because I think people need to see exactly how people play around with people's First Amendment rights, how people play around with people's rights, period, do all kinds of
Mhm.
unconstitutional things. And it's a and because they have the money, they have no problem with bringing forth frivolous lawsuits and putting fake cases on people. But once again, let's just be clear: all of these cases are to divert away from the fact that the law and medical professionals were used to totally impede on the civil liberties of a couple who had done nothing more wrong than
Mhm.
love each other and just want to have a viable life and be positive members of their society and just be a part of a loving family. Like it's
Mhm.
crazy, all of this stuff is going on, and all of these people that are talking and they're reporting about this and they're reporting about that, but nobody's reporting about the fact that this was all done as an exercise in power, and
Mhm.
absolute power corrupts absolutely. So we need to get to that part
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah, and
And
abuse of power. So,
yeah,
yep.
and thank you all our mods over here on the backup. God bless you. Like we got our family all spread out all over the place, but yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, and all of the thoughts expressed here on Set in the West are backed by First Amendment right to tell the truth and shame the devil
Hmm.
and his billable hours.
Yep. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all on the flip. All right.
There